your average EDC. Oh my gosh. Who even is this? Well, it's Erica with Not Your Average EDC. I need to get a life. Alright guys, I want to make a video today for all of you about handle materials. But first, what are we flipping? The same, as always, the 940. This is the work knife for today, and every day, until the end of August. Handle materials. Let's talk about it a little bit. My favorite handle materials are G10 and micarta for sure. Titanium and aluminum are cool, but there's just something about that like organic feel of micarta, especially micarta, but G10 too. It just feels freaking good, man. So let's talk about it a little bit. The G10 that LT Wright uses, I really like. It's very soft and smooth, and it doesn't have any grit to it at all. I just realized this was still here. Get out of there. Okay. It's soft and smooth, and it doesn't have that like sandpaper feeling to it. So if you're somebody who likes very smooth G10, I mean, this is like soft as a baby's butt, dudes. Not kidding. This, it just melts. It just melts in your hand. And I love how LT Wright does the scallops on a lot of their models. This knife just feels great. This is the next gen, I believe, the LT Wright next gen. So it's kind of a small bushcraft knife, full flat ground, A2 steel. So that's a tool steel. And this is a very comfortable knife if you're looking for something small that you could EDC but also use in the field, and has a really nice handle. Notice the lack of ergonomics. Beautiful. Although I like this soft G10, I do prefer if it has some texture, and not necessarily that sandpaper texture, but John from BGM Knives does some really cool stuff with his G10. So this is a Quaken that he made, and this is G10, but notice the sculpting of it. So it's still soft. It's not gritty at all, but you do get much more texture and purchase with the sculpting that he does. It's a really neat pattern that he does on all of his handles, and it's just a series of dips and cuts that really, man, your hand just locks in on his handles. I love the way that John sculpts this G10. This is really nice. And again, another favorite knife of mine with no ergonomics at all. I mean, that's literally a straight freaking handle, but also the most comfortable. This is so, man, you can hold this any way, and the knife won't tell you no. You know I like that. Yeah, I love this G10 too. I do like micarta a little bit more just because it has like the slightest bit of grip to it, like the surface has more grip. So I do like that a little more than G10. This is a little bush baby from LT Wright with natural micarta. And I think that they offer some models with like a finished micarta. Maybe they put some sort of gloss on it or something. But this one is raw and natural, so it just feels great. It's not too grippy, but when you hold it, you definitely can feel that it's an organic material that is working with your oils and your skin, which is really neat. I love the feel of this. And the Bush Baby is actually a really good little fixed blade for EDC. This is like the perfect size. And again, no ergonomics really aside from a little finger choil right there. And I have very small hands, but my hand fits perfectly with that. And I think it would fit with somebody of larger hands too, because although it has a dip, it's kind of universal. Your hand will just fall where it does, and I don't think the choil is necessarily sized for any specific finger. But that's, LT Wright does great micarta for sure. It's a really nice little one. And my favorite micarta, now I don't know like what supplier these companies use for their stuff. I think it's more or less a finishing process that alters it. They could all be from the same supplier, I don't know. They just, whatever the finishing process is for these is a little bit different, because this micarta feels different from my all-time favorite micarta, which comes from the Shutter Dug on Instagram. So this is my Mini A100 in micarta, but this micarta feels much, much different than the LT Wright. And that's probably just a finishing process. The LT Wright is a little softer and smoother, and Doug, at least on these scales, I specifically asked for them to be tumbled and for him to finish them with linseed oil, and it does smooth them out, but they feel, I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. They're soft, but you can feel that fabric. You can definitely feel it more than the LT Wright. I love Doug's scales. They change a knife completely. This feels like a freaking dream. A dream. These scales are the best scales I've ever gotten from him. These are green canvas micarta. Like I said, tumbled and oiled. They'll pick up a really nice patina. I haven't been able to use these scales yet because I've been testing so much, but let's see if we can check those out a little bit. Beautiful. So yeah, I really like G10. I really like micarta. I think they're great handle materials, and it's funny how you can use a knife model and something as simple as changing the scales can literally change the entire knife for you. The Mini A100 is a perfect example of a knife where it's really good when you get it, but some people just don't enjoy the grit from the stock scales. So a simple change of scales, you might spend, $60-65 on some micarta scales, it can literally change the whole knife. I can tell you right now that my stock Mini A100 at home with G10 scales feels way different than this one in hand. And I know that they're the same knife, but putting different clothes on it really does just make it feel different. I love the organic feel of micarta. So definitely don't hesitate to buy some clothes, some outfits for your knives. If you're feeling like you're kind of bored of them, or maybe you just don't like the feel of it, but you want to like the knife, seriously, look into just swapping the scales. Sometimes it changes everything and you fall back in love with a knife. The 940 here, I really like the aluminum scales, but maybe you don't, and you could buy aftermarket scales. So yeah, just something to think about. Those are two materials that I really, really enjoy using, and they can be shaped and sculpted all different ways, but yeah, micarta for the win, man. I freaking love that stuff. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Happy Saturday. I'm at work again, but the good news is I get to use my shit. Have a great day, guys.